Hi everyone, welcome back to Casual Watch Talk Live. Well, we've got something of a Tudor special this week, and we've got a very special guest. We've got Justin. Thank you for joining us from Tudor AD in Orlando.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, and then I'm joined by the rest of my team, Jason from watchrolling.com.
Hello.
Todd, our vintage Seiko chronograph expert, and Patrick from Pocket Watch Time. Thank you for joining us. Well, let us know, everyone, in the comments. Keep those questions, those Tudor questions coming. That would be awesome as we go through this. But should we kick the whole thing off with a wristwatch check? Patrick, go on. You can go first. You're in the bottom square today.
I'm wearing my Tudor Blackbay 58925.
Great watch.
So as funny as it is, Justin, I actually do own the Tudor Blackbay 925, but it's actually at my mother-in-law's house. So all I have is my advertising that I have it. So
very cool.
Today I'm wearing my Doc's limited edition ceramic.
Oh yeah,
very nice.
Sick.
Justin, go on. What are you wearing? I'll make you full screen so we can see it.
So I've got my boutique bronze, Blackbay 58.
Ah, nice. Boutique.
Yeah, I've had it for about 4 months now, and the patina is it's gorgeous. You know, not getting a lot of green. You know, it's patinaed evenly, so I'm loving it.
Awesome. Todd, what are you wearing? I'll make you full screen.
Yeah, I'm wearing I haven't put it on for a while because it's I don't know. I just think maybe it's my most special watch, but this is the Omega CK2998 2018 release.
Yeah.
So, which is kind of harking back to the original one that Wally Schirra wore, I believe, on the Mercury. So it's kind of really the first Omega in space concept. So anyhow, that's what
it's got the pulsometer on it instead of a tachymeter.
Yes, which is not historical for what Wally wore, but it was an option back then to get the pulsometer scale.
Oh, awesome. Jason, I'll make you full screen. What are you wearing?
Boom, boom, boom.
There it is.
Bell & Ross BR01 TAC 92 on the newly acquired rubber strap with the BR. Tang's got a little BR on it too. At the right angle, you can see it. They even got the little sweat stuff for the BR. So very nice. Still the most comfortable 46 millimeter timepiece you could ever wear in the history of man, I would assume. And I love it.
I just realized I didn't need to make you full screen then, did I? Because it's one of the few watches where you could have seen it very clearly from the
space.
Well, I'll make myself full screen. I'm wearing my a green Rolex Datejust. Still really loving this. Although if you watch the Sunday live stream, I have been wearing a fitness tracker watch at Garmin. So to be fair, I've been alternating between the two. I haven't found a good way of doing the two watch thing. So I'll go without that. Okay, well.
We have our first question, actually.
Ooh.
From Bill K. This question is, one pressing Tudor question for Justin. What's the correct pronunciation of Pelagos?
Pelagos, you just said it. I've heard people say Pelagos.
Pelagos, yeah.
Pelagos is I mean, I guess it depends on your accent, right? But Pelagos is how I say it and how 99% of the people say it, I would say.
Sweet. You heard it here first.
And then, actually, we've got another question. I don't know if you can answer this. What are Tudor releasing in September? Somebody's saving, I think, for a Tudor.
That is a great question. So, I mean, Tudor is extremely confidential. So they don't allow us to know any of that information. But what I have heard is that this release that's coming out is going to break the internet. That's what I've heard. So supposedly it's something big and it's something really cool, but I guess we'll have to wait and see, so it's very exciting.
So the Ranger was just like a little sweetener, a little tease, waiting for the. Well, I tell you, if they release that Tudor Submariner, I think that would break everything. That would stop the if there is a decline in the watch market, that would stop it quickly.
I'll say right now that I would buy that just to make people mad. just from a purely contrarian point of view. I mean, it's a handsome timepiece, don't get me wrong, but I would get it just to show up to watch meets, and people are like, "Oh, you like my Rolex Submariner?" I'd be like, "Yeah, bro, but I got a Tudor Submariner."
Oh, with the snowflake hands and like a.
And I'd raise it up slowly like this. Dun, dun, dun.
Awesome. Well, Justin, you were telling me this week that you've got some of the new Blackbays in the dress watches. I'll actually show them up here, but you wanted to where are they? They're along here somewhere. Oh, this is excellently executed, isn't it? From me. Here we go. These you were telling me are really, really cool in person.
Yes. So I'm going to start off with like the photos on the internet and on the website don't really do it justice. You have to see it in person. I mean, the bracelet is almost identical to a Rolex Jubilee bracelet. It's a 5-part, steel and gold bracelet. I mean, the center links are capped, but it's got the new T-fit clasp, which is really nice. New in-house movement. There's all different sizes, and I think that this is like exactly what Tudor really needed. I mean, they've been really going at like the Blackbay really hard, releasing a lot of cool pieces, like the GMTs and the Pros and whatnot. But I think they needed something that was a little bit dressier, and I think this really hits the nail on the head. I mean, yeah. So those photos right there that you're looking at, that I think is a better representation of it. They do diamond bezels, diamond dials, silver, champagne, and black dials, and they're all really, really nice.
Does that one come with the champagne dial, Justin?
It does, yes.
Oh,
yes. This one. Here we go.
Oh man,
is that the no? That's not champagne.
No, that's
is
silver.
There we go.
What size is that? 41 millimeters.
Yeah. So there's a 41. I'm actually looking at the 39 millimeter for myself. I feel like the 39 is like the perfect size for my wrist, but they were released in March in Watches and Wonders, and they just started hitting the stores now. We received a small handful, and they sold out immediately. So I mean, that just goes to show like how nice they really, really are.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's nice.
But unfortunately, we can't show it anymore because it doesn't have the date on it. So that's it.
Sorry, Sam's criteria.
We've got another question coming in here. Yeah, how hard is it for a watch newbie with no AD history to attain the new Ranger?
So the new Ranger, I mean, so there's 3 variations, right? I would say 7 out of 10 people want the one on the bracelet, so that's the most difficult one to get. The one on the NATO and the textile leather and rubber strap, those 2 are a little bit easier to get, right? So most of the time you can walk into our boutique and we'll have one or the other. And if not, we can always order that bracelet if you really want to get the bracelet as well. But I personally, I love it on that NATO strap right there. I think it's really, really cool.
Yeah, and I suppose in keeping with the one that it references, that I imagine that vintage one probably came on a leather bracelet, didn't it, or a leather strap. Excellent.
Like that.
Todd, you had a question or two, didn't you, that you've been sent in?
I do. So I'll preface these questions first with the fact that I got them from a good friend of mine who's my AD down in St. Thomas. He works for Little Switzerland, kind of. He's really a consultant. He's kind of a watch consultant for them, but works with them. And so, and of course now, I don't believe Little Switzerland no longer carries Rolex or Tudor anymore. They used to, but it's been pulled out. But anyhow, so one of them, to the point that you just got in terms of the ability to get the Ranger, he asked, he gave me this question, and his name is Dean Bump, and he said, how hard is it to get a Betona Panda dial? And I thought that was a really good question.
Yeah. So the process for any of these watches is just like Rolex, right? So so it's not just like Rolex. So with Rolex, you walk into the boutique, everything's exhibition. Everything that's on the floor for any Tudor AD at the moment, those are for sale. I would say that in a boutique, we carry a lot more, or we get a lot more access to the pieces than just a regular like shop and shop. However, the Blackbay Chrono is, and actually the white dial is probably the hardest piece to get in the entire collection. Guesstimate, I would say 6 to 8 months, possibly, more or less. You know, so it's not like you're waiting years.
That's not bad. That's not
it's not bad.
And is that on the bracelet, or that's whichever way it comes on the bun strap or the NATO style?
I think the bracelet would be the hardest one to get. I would say the bracelet, you're looking closer to the 8-month mark, and then if you wanted the NATO or the bun strap, probably around 6, I would say.
While we're on the rare ones, I've always been sort of inquisitive about the gold one that they made, and I don't think I've seen anyone online with one. But have you seen one? Have you sold one? Do the people ask for it? The all gold Black Bay 58 I'm talking about.
Yes, for sure. So we've sold through quite a few of those. We do have one available now. I mean, we don't receive many, so I mean, maybe that's why they're a little bit harder to get than some of the other pieces. But it's not like it's impossible. If we were to sell the one we had today, maybe 2 to 4 months, something like that. But again, that's just a guesstimate. So.
Yeah, because it came with quite a big fanfare, didn't it? And then I remember there being a lot of buzz, because it wasn't even this Watches and Wonders, was it? I think it was it wasn't even Watches and Wonders, was it? I think the year before it was released, like 2020 or something.
Yeah, it was last year. They released it alongside the 925 silver and also the bronze. You know, so they had like all 3 of the Olympic medals. I'm a huge fan of it. You know, it has the exhibition case back. So it also comes on that leather strap you see, but it also comes on the NATO, both with the gold buckles. I mean, I think it's really sharp, and there's something about it, about having like a solid gold sport watch that I just love, you know.
Yeah, and Patrick, you've got the silver, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got the silver. With the second it came out, I put my name in on the AD, and they pretty much promised me. I bought the first one in town, and it took like almost 6 months for me to get it. But when it came in, you know, because I paid for it in advance. But I love weird metals, so for me, when Tudor came out with the silver, I said yes, sir. The gold, as I said, is interesting. I just you know, the price point's a little high, and you know, and what's weird for me is I immediately put my silver one on a rubber, because I just think it's so weird to have a dive watch that, you know, comes on leather straps and NATOs that I don't want to get wet when I just want rubber. So, but it looks great on a rubber strap. So if you can tell the Tudor high ups start putting some of their dive watches on rubber, you'll make the community happy.
Yeah, we'll do. I'm also a little fun fact about that silver watch. So that it was cool that they released that. So that's the first original Tudor that was released in 1926 was actually made of 925 silver. So I think that was a little cool. It's a little nod to their history there. How is that patina? You know, since you've had it.
The only thing that's weird about the patina, I mean, I don't mind the patina, as you might tell by my handle. I collect pocket watches, and you know, there's a whole bunch of them that are silver, and I'm used to tarnish. The only thing that's weird is, I guess, did they use a proprietary aluminum in there to sort of make their sterling shine? The patina's just a different color. Like, it's not the gray black patina that you usually get in silver. It's kind of a browner color. And I think that maybe is what people kind of go, what's that weird color?
Dude, that brown is hold on, that brown is freaking sweet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it right here, right now. Like I would sit there and look at that thing and just spin it all day and be like, oh, it's brown, it's great.
Yeah, the
you know what I mean?
doesn't
Because
bother me at all.
it's different. Yeah, it's different.
So I think it's fine. I made a 6-month video about the patina, and I'm about 2 months away from making my 1-year video about patina. But it really patina's mostly in the creases. But the main part of the watch actually looks pretty darn great.
Okay, very cool. I mean, in terms of I'm not sure if they add anything into the alloy. I mean, I think it's just 925 pure silver. But I know for the bronze, they add aluminum into their bronze mixture, so that kind of stabilizes it a bit. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. And well, I guess do you get asked for that one a lot as well, the silver?
Yeah. The silver is one of those fast movers. I mean, people like to have something that's different. I mean, I can't think of many other watches out there right now that are making anything or any watches in silver. I mean, is there any that you can think of?
Oaks and Junior.
I've never heard of them.
So they're a weird Swiss brand that is sort of a childhood of the Ulysse Nardin, his creator, sort of made a spin-off. But they make silver watches. But you're right. Besides them, I really can't think of any.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have to check that out.
Silver one's almost perfect. Like
it is.
It's almost a perfect watch. It'd only be more perfect
with a bracelet.
They made an all gray Pelagos like that with white hands, and that would be the perfect watch.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And speaking of the Pelagos, the FXD, obviously they released it, and then those original 2021s, which immediately overnight became a collector's item because there was only a select number of them. I know. Did you have any of them in store, or is there another lot that's coming out? Is there 2022 ones and 2023 ones?
Yeah, so that was released the end of 2021. We received one at the end. I mean, that was literally at the end of the year. So I mean, if you're like a diehard collector, love pieces that are rare, I mean, that's definitely one to go for. But yeah, so all of the ones that we received this year will be 2022, and then next year 2023 until they discontinue it. I really, really love that watch. It's slimmed down a bit, so it's not as thick. The blue is gorgeous. And yeah, I think it's cool that it doesn't fit a bracelet. You just put any NATO strap and just feed it through the lugs, and you're good to go.
Yeah, it was definitely it was kind of a surprise hit, wasn't it? Because it wasn't really, there wasn't like the build up like there was with the Ranger, where there was like a bit of mystery, and they'd obviously been working on it with the French military for quite some time, hadn't they? Planning it and everything, and then it sort of burst out. I know John from Tea and Tickers, he's got one and absolutely loves it. He certainly talks about it enough. Todd, you had a few questions there, didn't you?
Yeah, we go back to it. So here's one that you're going to get. You probably get a version of this, Justin. So I'm gonna give it to you with that in mind. And it's this: do you think the lack of supply of Rolex is driving the demand for Tudor, or do you think people are taking notice of the brand based on its own merits? There, it's a classic little brother question in some ways.
I think it's a little bit of both. They left the U.S. for quite some time, but they were reintroduced in, I believe, 13 or 14. I mean, I was in the industry at that time, and to be honest, I mean, I hadn't heard of them until they came back. But when I did learn about them, it really intrigued me. So it went down a rabbit hole of Tudor. Just learning about the history, and I think that just the history of being tied to Rolex, for a lot of people, especially since you can't receive Rolex these days, it's at least filling that void until they are able to pick up their Rolex of choice. It's in my opinion, I think it's fantastic quality, and for just a fraction of the price.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. I mean, and so a follow-up to that question might be, so we've seen a lot of news articles lately that talk about the the sale of Rolex and Patek, at least, obviously the sports models that have been really hot for so long. And of course the problems now in economies and inflation and the Bitcoin price dropping. I mean, maybe you want to talk about that, Sam, in terms of, that was creating a lot of demand for these not durable goods rather, but investment grade quality goods and that sort of thing. Have you seen in your business, have you had any effect like that in terms of people coming in, and have you seen sales drop off, or is it still very strong?
So, I think that for a time there was a bunch of people all of a sudden who just became like watch flippers, just like a huge group of people just thought that they could, buy watches and start flipping them. I mean, you're reading about it, or I mean, I've seen a bunch of articles on the internet that says that the market's dropping off here and there. But to be honest, I think that we just lost a little of that market of the people who just wanted to buy and flip watches. But it's still holding strong. I mean, Tudor they're growing their presence in the U.S. We were the second boutique in the U.S. I believe they're planning on having 5 by the end of the year. So I mean, if business was slow, I wouldn't see them continue to open up boutiques in the rate that they are. But yeah, no, it's the business is great. I think Rolex is still doing great, and a lot of the other brands too.
Yeah, it's a fantastic store as well, isn't it? I've been in a few times. It's a lot. The way it's laid out, it's got a lot more of a casual approach to it, hasn't it? You're not all behind. You're not behind counters. You're sort of sat around different parts of the store. It's a lot more approachable, and then you've got a really cool life-size diver, that an actual fiberglass the person diver with a watch on full scale. Instead of Omega that has the little spacemen and the Breitling that has the little ones, Tudor's just XL this a 5'9" statue of a diver, like a vintage diver, pretty cool. The thing I always find interesting is the original Blackbay was a real launch for Tudor, wasn't it? Is that still a popular model, the original one that had ETA in it, but now they're putting the in-house movements in, versus the Blackbay 58, or are they? Because they would seem like they would compete just based on size.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's still one of their best sellers. I think the trend now is smaller watches, right? Mm-hmm. So when they were first released, they were the 41 millimeter. That's what everybody wanted. I remember when the 58 was first released, there was a bunch of people saying that they think it's too small, and it's a ladies' watch, this and that. But now I think it's 50-50. We sell just as many 58s as we do the 41s. It's really just preference. I actually have a Harrods Blackbay with the green bezel. I love that watch. I have skinny wrists, so it's a little top heavy. The 58 fits my wrist perfectly, so this has been on my wrist every single day. I haven't even taken this thing off. I love it.
Yeah, I had the Blackbay 58 when it first came out with the gilt hands. The only
nice.
I loved it, but the only thing at the time was what you were saying, Justin, is you just couldn't get it on the bracelet. Mm-hmm. And I got it on the NATO at the time, and it was just it was at the time where I was reviewing a lot of watches, so I ended up selling it a year or so later just because I wasn't wearing it. But it was a great size. The bezel action on it was phenomenal. Completely different from Rolex, but very precise. I like that coin edge bezel on it and everything. I did a couple of videos on the channel about it.
I have a question about a specific model at Tudor, and I'm still a relatively new watch collector, just so you know, Justin. I've been doing it for about 3 years. Okay. So the whole integrated sports bracelet thing was going on for a while, and everyone's like, "Oh, the Powermatic and blah blah blah." So you either buy a $500 watch, or you buy a $30,000 watch, because that's the price gap between integrated sports bracelets, I guess. But I have always kept an eye on the Tudor Royal, and I don't understand this is probably a rhetorical question, but I don't understand how people don't talk about this thing. And then even the simple one without the diamonds, but like the silver dial, and that thing is fantastic. So, you know, and you only get so much by looking at the website. And I've never seen one in person, but I have seen some in picture, like real pictures from people that take good photos. You can tell they're not like really photoshopping them. So my question is like, what's the deal behind this? Because I tried to look up some history on it, and I didn't really. Maybe I'm looking in the wrong place, but this is something I'd be really interested in. Is it a supported, like a heavily supported model? Because I just don't hear anything about it. But I'd like to go in there and try one on, or is that something I'd have to like ask ahead of time, or would they have that like in the boutique?
Yeah, well, so actually, if you scroll down right there, that blue dial, the day date right there, like that, those are two of the hottest watches that we sell now.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Really?
I mean, that size in specific, I would say, is the most popular. But all the other ones, it's we've been selling a lot of them to ladies. It's become a great ladies' watch, but the 41 isn't my favorite. I love the 38 millimeter. I think it fits my wrist perfect.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a great watch, and the price is fantastic.
Oh yeah, because I have a 7.5 inch wrist. So like this is the Bell and Ross on my wrist, and this thing's 46 millimeters. It's gigantic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not a small guy, and every time I see this, I think to myself, like, even if because I have a dress watch, it's a Seiko Japanese domestic model I got in a trade. So I can honestly, I mean, I like it, but I don't really love it. I could give it away for all I care about. But every time I see this Tudor Royal, I'm like, man, I could wear that with a suit. That's just, because I'm retired Navy, so that's just enough. Even though it's really refined and you can tell it's refined, it does have an air of ruggedness to it. Like there's some industrial machine aspects of it, which I really, really dig. And so I just don't, I guess the hype machine doesn't talk about it, but now that you're telling us they're really popular models, I feel like this silver dial one is as close to like dress sporty watch perfection as you can get. So I was just wondering if they're in the stores, or if I'd have to wait a while to get one if I went in.
Yeah. So, I mean, so like you were saying, a lot of those integrated case to bracelet or case to lug bracelet style watches, they're all hard to get. Like, the APs of the world and Patek's and whatnot. But I mean, this is a great option if you want to get something of that style.
Yeah.
For $3,000-$4,000, you get a great quality watch, and you don't have to baby it when you wear it, because I mean, all of Tudor's watches they're made to be worn. So I mean, even if you've gotten to one of the gold watches, I mean, you can wear it, and I mean, not have to baby it on your wrist.
Yeah,
it's got that oyster quartz vibe to it as well, hasn't it? Like that.
It does.
Kind of oyster quartz vibe to it with the semi-fluted bezel. Next time I'm in the store, I'd love to see one of these in person, because I've never. You're right, Jason. You never hear anyone.
Yeah,
kind of
beautiful
talking about it, do you?
And to me, it's like, if I'm retired military, so I still work around that environment, and like Todd will know what I'm talking about. So every once in a while, everyone gets in suits, right? And when everyone's in suits, like, it's kind of a running joke where I work. There's people that buy suits but don't get them fitted, right? And I have a little too much vanity. I'm 6'2", like 260. I have to get my suits tailored, right? But you'll see someone that has a suit, and to each their own. But like the sleeves are a little too long, or the jacket's a little baggy. Like they just wear it to wear it. But for me, it's like when I get suited, I want to be suited. And then you start looking at stuff like shoes and like ties, and I want to just be able to like stick my sleeve out one day with a dress watch, and everyone's like, "Oh man, what's that?" And I feel like the Tudor Royal is that. People would be like, "Oh, what's that?" I'd be like, "It's my Tudor," and I probably get like all Pulp Fiction and be like, "It's the Tudor Royale," you know what I mean? But
the Royale with cheese,
with cheese, But because I would love to go in there and see one and try it on, because I think I've finally found my dress watch for my collection, and it might even be a fun like Saturday or Sunday like brunch with the wife watch, just kind of kind of cool.
Well, yeah, definitely come and see me, man, and we'll definitely roll out the red carpet, man, and welcome you in for sure.
Awesome.
we've got a bit of a. You might not. I don't know whether you can speculate on this question, but we got one text in to us, which is: did you hear the rumor that Louis Vuitton asked Tudor to remove watches from Watches and Wonders due to a dial layout being too close to one of their patterns? This was a rumor a few months ago. I actually heard that also that was Rolex as well. That Louis Vuitton was.
Which dial? Which dial is he referring to?
That's interesting.
Yeah,
I think it would have been a new unreleased Tudor. So
yeah, no, I mean, no, I haven't heard of that. No,
yeah.
no. But I am curious to find out what dial they're speaking of.
Yeah, I will ask.
Yeah.
And we've got from the comments here, we've got bring back the North flag, but I don't think there'll be any argument from the panel there.
Yeah,
Because
that would be amazing.
Yeah, because we were. I think
cool.
people were half thinking that the Ranger was going to be the North. That they would possibly launch the North flag again, but it ended up being the Ranger, which I suppose.
Yeah. You know what the North flag is? The North flag is Paul's Boutique by the Beastie Boys. It was just way ahead of its time. People weren't ready for it.
I was just about to say that.
And now everyone's like, "Oh man, Paul's Boutique is great." And now everyone's like, "Oh, the North flag's great." Like it should have been great when it came out because they didn't keep it around, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I thought the same thing, that it was a little before its time. I mean, it did great, you know, while it was in production, but you know, it had that same integrated bracelet case lug style. It was the first in-house movement that Tudor produced. Exhibition case back, which you don't really see from Tudor and Rolex. Gorgeous watch. I would love for them to re-release it, you know, and maybe change it up a bit.
Yeah, I'll just show one here for reference, but
Yeah.
these obviously aren't. These are all on Chrono 24.
And I'm one of those guys who likes a power reserve on the front, so I'm okay with it too.
So with that, Patrick, is that an ETA then that has the power reserve on the? Was that
No.
an ETA movement that had a power
No,
reserve?
this is their first in-house.
Yep.
Oh wow, okay.
I'm not exactly sure what modification they had to put on there to get a power reserve on the front, but yeah, they I guess could do it now too if they wanted to. They just chose not to.
It's just utilitarian goodness, man. Like the contrast of the hands and the dials, and they even pick the right, because you know yellow can be funny sometimes. And most people, like if you don't painting yellow is one of the hardest colors to paint. It's hard to get it evenly applied. And I know that might not be painted, but still sometimes applying stuff or molding stuff in yellow can be difficult. You can't get like a full straight even color. And so the first time I saw that, when I was started my watch collecting journey, I stumbled across videos of this and I was like, oh man, that thing's awesome. And then like 18 minutes later, I realized, oh, they don't sell it anymore. And I was like, oh, well, I guess I'm not getting that, but it's really nice.
Yeah, and I think the only other one that did a second hand better than that is the Omega, the 15,000 Gauss Aquaterra, and the Bumblebee with the Bumblebee hand.
You got another question, Sam?
Yeah, love the unique design of the Heritage Advisor, but apparently it's been discontinued.
Yeah, we haven't received any of those since we've opened. I mean, that's great too, to have a. I think that's it's a useful function to have a alarm on your wrist. You know,
Oh wow!
I thought it was a pretty neat watch, and they had one color variation. It was kind of like a brownish red that was really pretty.
Yes.
But no, there was one that sat at my ID for years. No one.
Oh wow, that thing's awesome.
To want it, but yeah, I thought it was a pretty cool watch.
This is totally new to me. I had no idea about this watch. This is it.
I'm on the same page.
Yeah,
it is awesome, isn't it?
It's their version of the JLC Memovox. So,
yes,
and it's not that far off. It's got that a similar Polaris dial, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's real clean though.
And I mean, it's a beautiful little watch. And I said, if you can find the one that's kind of got the burnt red, dial, that's really, really super pretty.
Here's a dumb question, Justin. Like, so since we get this question from Bill K, and Bill's been pretty active in the chats for a while, always ask really good questions. Is there does Tudor take feedback? Is there like a section on the website where you can go and ask these kind of questions? Because like for every bill, there's probably a number of bills, and if there was the ability to be like, hey, is this model still around? Can you still order it? even if they said no, sorry, at least they would have that question answered. Because I think sometimes stuff gets discontinued because maybe obviously you can see your sales numbers and stuff like that, but like you said, the North Flag sold well for a pattern of time, and then did it stop selling because the hype died down behind the media machine, and then because sometimes companies just don't market something after the initial hype, right? And if the company just marketed it, people would your initial watch collectors, that's what I've noticed. Your initial watch collectors are going to be the surge to get it initially selling well. But then what's the company do? A, what's the company do after that to market it? And B, is there a place for like watch collectors to go and ask these kind of questions so they at least know, or someone in the company's taking some kind of data-driven analytics to be like, hey man, like in this region, we had this question asked, I don't know, X amount of times to make a decision.
Well, I mean, when it comes to feedback, I don't think that they have any like question box or anywhere where you can go. But I mean, Tudor and Rolex, I think they definitely have their finger on the pulse. I think that they're watching, like all of the social media, like, what everyone likes and dislikes. And I mean, again, Rolex and Tudor, they're one of the most secretive companies in the world when it comes to things like that. But
I'm reading
but on the
book.
other side of the coin, they're marketing geniuses. So I'm not sure as to why they would discontinue a piece or anything like that. But usually when they do discontinue a piece, a lot of times they bring it back new and improved. So maybe they'll bring it back one of these days and it'll be better in some sort of way.
A North Flag with an alarm. I'll take it.
Todd, did you have any others that you got sent in?
I got some more. I might ask one of my own now. First, I'm just double checking my notes here. Yeah, so I'm looking right now on my other screen here, and I'm looking at the Tudor Ranger. And it was funny when that came out. There was a lot of, let's say, disagreement amongst the different folks, I think, here as well as others in terms of, is this good? I mean, it's been called boring, which is a shame. I really like it, and I really like it because it's coming in as a Rolex Explorer that I can actually get. It's coming in at $3,000 on bracelet right there. Yep. I like the hint of red. I don't think it's boring at all. I think it's like it's a field watch. It's basically what I think the Rolex Explorer was, and now the Rolex Explorer is coming in at 34, right? And so I guess two questions here. Number one, what do you think Rolex's, I guess, purpose is for doing 34-inch field watches? I mean, to me, the 39 is like you talked about it. Like my wrists aren't really big either. The 39 is a really great sweet spot for me. 39 to 41. I mean, do you think this was coordinated, or what are your thoughts? I guess overall, it's kind of an open-ended question, but I have no idea why I would go and get a 34 and wait list a 34-inch Explorer when this 39-inch Ranger is right there.
Yeah, well, so the Rolex, the new Rolex Explorer is a 36.
36. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry. 36.
Yeah, I mean it's 36. I mean, in my opinion, for this watch, for $3,000, I mean, I think it's the perfect watch, to be honest. I loved how they took the rivets off the bracelet.
Mm-hmm.
They added the T-fit clasp. I mean, it doesn't have a paragraph of text, just the Ranger on the dial. I think it's really, really clean.
Yeah, it's Kosk, and it doesn't say it's Kosk.
Yeah. Just the red tip on the second hand. I think it's a home run for $3,050. I mean, you really can't beat it.
Yeah,
I think a lot of watch collectors talk out of both sides of their mouths too, man. I'm just going to say it. You know what I mean? This is boring, but the Explorer is exciting. Is it exciting for this $7,000 more? No, I mean, I'm serious. And as a retired military guy, right? This watch is literally designed to be. Now you could be like me and you're sitting at a desk, but if I had this and I was actually going and doing Ranger stuff, the last thing I want to do is be staring at my wrist while I'm, straddling a crevasse on a iceberg when I plummet to my death because my dial is so exciting. You know what I mean? It's like, make your mind up, you know, like this right here too. And the best part, like Todd said, and I always bring this up. The guys know this. I'm deep in my heart. I'm a poor kid from Southern California. This watch is attainable, not only financially, but literally, physically attainable.
Right.
You can walk in. It may not be there, but you can order it, pay your money. It's going to come in. You're going to have this watch. You're not going to have to go. And I get the whole relationship thing, but I'm telling you, man, like as a retired military guy, a lot of us aren't going in and glad handing anybody to get something. If that's what I got to do, if I got to waste my time with those steps, you know where I'm going to go? I'm going to find a local jeweler that's going to sell me a used one, or we just have a business transaction, and you know, that's that. You know what I mean? But I think that this fills a lot of niches, and it gets old hearing guys go, "Oh, that's boring." But dude, you took something almost exactly the same, and it's exciting, and you can't quantify why.
Yeah.
Right.
You
And
know?
you can wear this anywhere, and no one's going to cut your arm off for it.
But
Yeah,
they might cut your arm off and then be disappointed it wasn't the Explorer.
Yeah. I mean, to me, the ultimate field watch, frankly, is a Hamilton. Just because then I don't care, but at all for $600, I don't care. I have an LL Bean Hamilton field watch, as a matter of fact.
Good job, Todd.
Which is cool.
I'll tell
But
you that,
this watch to me would be something close, even at $3,000.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
I just think that if you're doing something with this watch that is designed to be done, I've heard people say the Hamilton's boring. Well, that's because you're doing boring stuff. If you're doing exciting stuff, you don't care, bro. You don't care what it looks like. You're not going like, "Oh man, this watch is so boring. Let me chop down this tree." You're not doing that.
Yeah.
Sorry, Patrick.
Patrick.
Oh no, you're fine. I was going to just say that my opinion of the Rangers actually changed after I saw real pictures. So once again, I need you to tell the upfront people at Tudor they need to take better pictures, because when I first saw it, the hands looked like a giant block of luminova, and it just looked bad. But when I started to see some actual wrist shots and I saw that it was framed in metal, it just gave the hand so much better personality. So, because that was really my only gripe with it, was like, I don't know if I really like the hands. But now that I've seen it in person, I think it's actually a pretty nice watch.
Noted. I'll write Hans Wilsdorf a letter.
Perfect.
And this is one you want to get on the bracelet, right, Justin? Go ahead and get it up on the bracelet, or what do you think?
Yeah, definitely pick it up on the bracelet, and then you can get one of their NATO straps as well. You know, just to change it up a bit every once in a while. But it's definitely on the bracelet's the way to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Oh, if only it had the date. I know. Well, we'll just remove it off.
Here's another watch without a date, Sam.
I know. But having, the date just does it, and it even has a little magnification on there, so I really know it's there. One of my favorites, and I know this is one of your favorites as well, Jason, is the Pelegos. But I just this is a statement more than a question. This is one of the there's probably a couple of watches that I would say that you have to see them in person because you can't take a picture of them properly. And this blue Pelagos, the blue of this is, I think, it's one of the best blue dials that's ever matte blue dials, because there's Seiko do some cool blue dials, but the color of this I don't think has ever been captured properly in a photograph.
No,
I think you've got to see it in person.
That's the color I tried on, Sam. When I told you that one day I went in, I took my wife to the jewelers, and she was talking about she's saving up for a tank, so she's almost there, and they had one of these in the cabinet. I said, "Hey, can I try one on?" And Justin, it didn't need to be adjusted, not even the adjustable clasp. I put it on, it fit perfectly, right? And the guys all want to have an intervention here with me because I'm too much like black and gray. Like my perfect watch is that silver, but it's just because it's all silver. It's beautiful. You know what I mean? But when I tried it on, Sam's right about that blue. That blue was so good that I didn't like the blue one after that, because it's like it's a great blue, but I was like, okay, it just reinforces me. Like I need to see the LHD or the all matte black one, because that's just, I want to be able to wear it all the time. And for me, like black or like a take on black or gray, I can wear it with anything all the time. And blue is a little bit more, fun or, anyways, but it really is. It's you guys need to get good pictures.
No, the photos definitely don't do it justice. I mean, the best way to really describe that color is think of a blue poker chip, and it's very similar to that. I mean, it's that's really the only way that I can describe the color. Just think of a blue poker chip.
What's the when somebody's coming in for a Pelagos, what's the go-to one? Is it the blue, or is it the left-hand drive one, or the black dial? Which are you getting asked for the most?
All of them.
Wow, really? It's that good a split?
The FXD is definitely one of the hottest watches right now, but I mean, all of the Pelegos are extremely sought after. I would say the Pelagos, then the LHD, and then the blue, and then the black. But it's going to be different in different areas and whatnot. So,
wow, the LHD is that popular. It puts it as a sort of second.
Yeah, it is.
Dude, it's that red. It's that red lettering, man. I'm telling you, that little pop of red.
I think you're right.
Every single time, man. And it's funny, Justin. My wife, I've been going on about the matte black Pelagos, right? And I would say she's like a 75% watch collector. She's not as hardcore about it as me, but my wife has a great collection. She has a Mondane dual time from 2007. Like, I've never seen anyone ever have one of those. She has like the cool Snoopy Woodstock Timex, and she's got some other good stuff. But she was like, why do you want that matte black one? You want that left-hand drive with the red lettering. She goes, and the poker chip date. She goes, you want that.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I had like an existential crisis sitting there on the sofa. I was like, she's right. I do want that. And then ever since then, I'm like, I got one mission, and I'm saving up for it now. And then my one mission is to get in somewhere and put my hands on it, try it on, and see, because if it's from, and I know it's the same quality, but like if the colors are the same quality of the color of the blue one, then I'm sold, because that blue was like, you probably quantified it better than I've ever heard it said, is that it's that poker chip blue. It's like blue, which is, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's great.
For me, I love it. Justin, are they using it's all in-house or all Kinesi movements now across the line, or is there still some that are using ETA as a base caliber?
Yeah, not every collection is in-house, but I mean, they're certainly heading that way. Some of the Royals are not in-house, and the 1926 collection, but all of most of the Blackbays, because they still have the all steel Blackbays with the smooth bezel. Those still have ETA movements, but I would say 75-85% of the collection is now in-house.
Awesome. Todd, you have a question about the movements?
Yeah. So let's get your feeling about this. So it's interesting in that the perception of fashion brands, and I'll say not Daniel Wellington or something horrible like that, but let's say jewelry brands. So it's interesting, like Cartier and watches obviously have a long history, but there's some really good ones. I'm trying to think of some higher end Swiss associations with some of the jewelry or high end fashion houses and such. So the reason I'm bringing it up is because now you've got Chanel in terms of and I'll say it right, is it Kinesi, right?
Kinesi, yep.
Kinesi, right? So they're involved with that brand's involvement with Kinesi. Do you think that this is not derogatory, but do you think this from a business perspective or perception, is it going to be helpful? Is it going to be something you think that it'll be negative? I mean, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, to be honest, I know that I guess Tudor owns the Kinesi factory, right? But I guess Chanel owns a portion of that as well.
Is that how that works? I was wondering who owned what now,
Yeah.
because a lot of the watchmakers are like one of my favorites, and we've talked about this, like Mont Blanc, right? They bought Minerva. So Minerva is a while ago. So Minerva is part of Mont Blanc, and therefore they're getting all this movement technology that's, obviously in-house because they own Minerva. Is it the same thing with Kinesi, you think, or is it weirder?
So from my understanding, Tudor owns the majority share of the company, and there are some other smaller brands. I think Chanel owns a portion. I believe there's Norcane. I believe
Norcane use the movements. I don't know if they're owners, but they definitely use the Kinesi movements.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, to be honest, that's always confused me a bit as well. But I mean, nonetheless, they're tested by Tudor, and I mean, they are great movements. They're accurate, so I have nothing really bad to say, So, I'm not really sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay, it's kind of a perception concept, I guess. We'll find out how it is in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, Justin, let me throw a question out at you based on what's on your wrist.
Yeah.
So, if a guy who likes weird metals was to hypothetically, who lives 2 hours away from you, drive over to Orlando, how long would it take him to acquire one of those?
So, all right. So right now, so we were the second boutique in the U.S. to open. They just opened another one in California. So right now, there's 3 locations where you can buy this watch in the U.S. This is up there alongside of the chrono. I mean, probably not as difficult, but you are going to wait some time if you do want one. And you can only get in boutiques. So
yeah,
I mean,
I know. When it first came out, I was very disappointed about that fact, because back then there was just one in New York only.
Yeah.
Being in Tampa, obviously I'm not that far away, but yeah, I definitely like that watch.
Yeah. Well, so if there is anyone that's interested, come and see me, and I'll definitely do my best to make it happen for sure.
Patrick, take some good pictures of the LHD for me and text them to me.
Jason, you said you were coming down to Tampa or to Orlando for a powwow anyway. So.
I'll tell you what. I would road trip it. I mean, what is it, like 15 hours? I could do that in my sleep.
All right.
Don't do it asleep though.
No.
But Justin, what do you? I mean, the case back and the inner bracelet. Are those all bronze as well, or do you have any discoloration problems on wrists or any clothing or anything?
No. So the entire watch is made of bronze except for the case back.
Okay.
So
full screen.
Yeah, that portion there is stainless steel, but it's bronze colored, right?
Okay.
I've never gotten that green stuff on my wrist, but I have heard stories from clients that have. Like, for instance, one gentleman, he got caught in the rain, and like as he was drying off, he noticed that there was like a little bit of green on his wrist, but it's never happened to me. But I guess it is possible, yes.
Yeah, I'm not afraid of that. I just
thought
it was an interesting thing, because as I said, most brands kind of put a titanium case back or something on the back. And the fact that, you've got a bracelet that doesn't have an inner coating, I was just wondering if you had noticed it. But you haven't scared me away, Justin. We'll see you soon.
Cool, man. Cool.
It's a body chemistry thing too, It's it's not just the metal.
Yeah, and you almost never see. I can't think of another brand that has I mean, Patrick, you might know, but I can't think of another brand that goes all in and has the bronze bracelet as well. Normally, it's just the watch, isn't it? Yeah.
Someone did it. I can't remember who. Yeah.
Questions on a postcard.
Yep.
Well, we've got. So Ricky's saying Oris actually do one that has an all bronze.
Oh, wait, they did. They did. I remember that.
Yeah. Oh, he's schooling us now in the comments. Ricky.
Ricky's coming in hot.
Oh, and somebody just said I've got a bronze diver from Zelos a few months ago. The case back is SS361, but I still get some green on my wrist if I sweat. I don't mind.
Oh. Yeah. Well, and also it depends, because the thing about bronze is it really depends on what they mix it with. If it's got a higher copper versus a higher aluminum rate,
Yeah.
you know, they do shed and they do become different colors more. So, you know, some of the higher quality bronzes have aluminum in them versus, you know, other, you know, alloys.
Yeah, somebody
You don't have to worry about anything until salt crystals start forming. Take it from the Navy guy. That's when you have a problem. The green is going to happen. You just clean it up a little bit, but when you start to see salt crystals form, clean your stinking watch.
Noted.
Yep.
All right.
That's what I'm here for. I'm here for you guys.
Todd, did you have any last questions on your list? Did we go through them all?
Yeah, my Dean list. Let me give you one more. How's that?
Sure.
Let's see here. Which one? Let's do so many choices. So
Todd's list of questions.
My list of questions. When do you think Tudor will roll out ladies' chronometers in the smaller sizes?
Oh, that's a good one.
There you go.
So they already did. So when we started this show with those S&G Blackbays, they do the 31 millimeter, and you know that's the perfect watch. Wait, did you say chronometer or chronograph?
I say chronometer. So I mean, guess because a related question is, do you think Tudor will ever have all their watches be chronometer spec'd in the future? And then I guess the follow on to that is, when do you think they're going to do that for ladies? Not chronographs necessarily, but that's a great answer to a good question too. But what about chronometers? Spec watches.
So you mean like chronometer
like your
certified, right?
Yeah, like your cost for women's smaller sizes.
So that the S&G Blackbay is chronometer certified.
Mm-hmm.
The 1926 still hasn't seen those in-house movements yet, and neither has the Royal. But you know, like I said, they're heading in that direction to, I believe, you know, make all of the models in-house.
Okay.
It's got it on the dial there.
Yeah, that one's got it on the dial. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see this bracelet now because my my Rolex came on the Jubilee, and I absolutely love it. It's one of the best bracelets I've ever had on a watch.
Hot question.
Oh, one with the date.
Yeah. So the 58 GMT has been a watch that everyone has been hoping and praying for, including myself. Hopefully soon. Your guess is as good as mine. But I mean, I think that would be a home run for sure. The Pro that they released, it was a 39, but they used the same movement from the 41 GMT, so it sits a little high. And I would love if they slimmed it down and put it in a 58 case, and you know that would be the perfect watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think that thing's really handsome though, the way it is. I think
that is a handsome watch.
Yeah.
There's a little glycine in it, I think, even, you know, like vintage glycine piece in there too. I love it.
Yeah, on the bezel. But I know Patrick John at Tea and Tickers, he had one of these on loan, didn't he? And he said that he totally got used to you notice it when you first put it on, the extra thickness, but he said after a while it was like a non-event.
Yeah, and I think people blow that out of proportion always. I mean, I said my Sky Dweller. I mean, that's a thick boy, but I mean, the minute you wear it and you walk down the streets, you don't even think about it anymore.
Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you, man, it's totally subjective, right? Like, if you never wear a long sleeve shirt that you got a button up, does it matter? No, it doesn't matter. In you know what I mean? Like, and then how big is your arm? How big is your hand? How big is your forearm? You know what I mean? Like, how small is your car? I mean, there's all these things that factor into it to where that 2 millimeters of thickness probably don't matter in the grand scheme of things.
That's true. I mean, the only people who I think would worry, like I wear my watches tighter than I think people do, but if you wore it bracelet style where it's like flopping over due to weight, then it might be an issue. But you know, if you kind of wear it so your watch doesn't move when you move, well, then I don't think you'd have a problem with it.
Yeah, the only good explanation about having really thick watches, and we mean like G-Shock thickness, a lot thicker than the Tudor, was Chris TJ, who's a good friend of the show. He said that whenever he was flying a plane where you could eject out of it, they always made sure they didn't have big watches in case they got caught on the as they ejected out of the plane.
I got a question for one question for Justin.
Sure.
So okay, so you know, Tudor has the Blackbay. and it's obvious that that's the one they're, like we always call, planting their flag, right? And all these watch brands are planting their flag. And I was going to ask another gentleman that was on before I had technical difficulties last time, the same question, but I'll ask you just your opinion as a watch cult enthusiast and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So a long time ago, all these car brands made these higher end car brands that weren't brands. They were just a version. Hyundai Genesis, Acura, Lexus. Some could argue that whether that's luxury or not. Infinity, some will really argue if that's luxury or not. But they eventually became their own brands. So there's been discussions like brands like Omega, where the Speedmaster is essentially its own brand now. It's not an Omega, it's a Speedmaster. And do you think, as a watch enthusiast, that that's something that could eventually happen down the road, to where there's so many variations of a certain model, right, that it becomes its own make?
I hope not, to be honest. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think the Speedmaster is a classic, but there's so many different variations, and I have noticed that Tudor's been, kind of really, really cashing in on the whole Blackbay thing. I mean, the good thing is that yes, they're Blackbays, but a lot of them look so different with different complications and whatnot. I wish that they, for instance, like this Blackbay Pro, I kind of wish that they would have just called it something else, because it doesn't even really look much like their classic Blackbay. You know what I mean? So, that's just my humble opinion, so.
Yeah, I was just wondering, because it seems like almost, and I hate to say it, but almost logical with some brands,
Yeah, well, that's been absolutely fantastic. Thank you, everyone, for all of the questions that you sent in. Justin, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, man, my pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Justin.
I had a lot of fun.
If you want to see Justin's store, he's in the Mall of Millennia in Orlando. So if you're on a holiday in Orlando or you live in the region, you definitely go. The store's awesome, the way that it's laid out, real cozy, really approachable, all the stuff in there. Well, thanks everybody for watching. Thanks to the panel, and we'll see you next time on Casual Watch Talk Live. Thanks, guys. Bye.